My name is Arif. I belong to a small village where neither the lights of the city reach nor its noise. Before sunrise, the sound of the call to prayer echoes, roosters crow, and people leave for their work. For people like us who earn by the day and eat in the evening, the greatest comfort is 2 meals a day and a roof over our heads. My life was also simple. A small mud house, a wife, 3 children, and about 20 goats. I supported my family by grazing goats. No large land, no other means. These goats were my only source of income. My wife, Jamila, is a very patient and quiet-natured woman. She wakes up with me in the morning, packs me rotis, onions, and a water bottle, then prepares the children and begins their day. That day was like any other. The sun was just rising in the east. Birds had started chirping. I untied the goats, picked up my stick, looked at each one carefully, and headed toward the jungle. The jungle lies to the east of our village, about 2 miles away. It is not small. It is filled with open patches of land, bushes, small valleys, and old trees. People generally go there only during daylight and return before evening. I was always cautious because if even one goat got lost, finding it would be difficult, and if a jackal or wolf ate it, the loss would be for the whole month. That day I reached the jungle early. Near an old valley where there is plenty of grass, I released the goats. I stuck my stick into the ground, spread a sheet, and sat down. I ate the rotis, drank water, and dozed off for a while. During the day, the atmosphere here feels peaceful, the sounds of birds, the rustling of wind, and the tinkling of the goats' bells. When evening began to fall, I started gathering the goats. I called each one by name. Some were called Gull, some Callie, and they all fell in behind me. I counted them, but at that moment I did not realize that 2 goats had been left behind. Perhaps it was my carelessness. Maybe they had gone deeper into the bushes. I was in a hurry to return. The sun was setting, the air was getting colder, and the jungle was turning from golden to dark. When I reached home, the children ran and took my things. Jamila had me wash my hands and gave me water. I took the goats to the tap to give them water. Then I realized 2 goats were missing. My heart jolted. I left my stick, ran back, and sat by the tap to count each goat one by one. Indeed, Gull and Lolly were not there. Both were my best goats. One I had raised myself from birth, and the other I had bought from the market after saving money like someone saving for bridal jewelry. My wife said, "Perhaps they were left behind, go look in the morning." But I could not rest. I knew that at night jackals come out in the jungle, wild dogs, and God forbid, snakes or other animals. I picked up a torch, put on my shoes, and silently left the house. The village streets were quiet. Here and there, the faint light of a tube light came from some house. Dogs were barking here and there. As soon as I crossed the last street of the village and reached the path to the jungle, the wind grew colder, and every sound became louder. In the torchlight, the shadows of the trees looked strange. I knew the path, but at night everything looks different. I began to make the sounds that goats make, Gull, Lolly, but no answer came. About half an hour must have passed when I reached near the valley, the same place where I had grazed the goats during the day. I had a torch in my hand, but its light seemed insufficient. All the bushes, trees, and footpaths seemed hidden in darkness. Somewhere in the distance, a jackal howled, such a sound that sent a shiver through my entire body. In my heart, I kept taking Allah's name. "O Allah, let there be good. Let my goats be safe." I looked behind every bush, shone the torch under every tree, and called out. My voice sounded strange in that silence, as if the jungle was swallowing my calls. I had barely taken a few steps forward when suddenly I felt as if a shadow moved to my right. I quickly turned the torch in that direction, but there was nothing. Nothing, just an illusion, I told myself, or perhaps a bird. But my heartbeat was saying something else. My shoes began to sink into the mud. The path had become hard. There was moisture underneath. Perhaps there had been a light drizzle during the day, but now there was only wind, cold and damp, as if someone's breath was moving around my neck. Then suddenly, I reached a place where I had never been before. The bushes thinned out and a somewhat open area appeared before me. There stood a large tree, and under it a woman was standing. Clad in black clothes, her hair so long that it touched the ground. She did not move, did not speak, just stood there. The light of my torch reached her face, but her face was not clearly visible, as if wrapped in a fog. My breath stopped. I involuntarily tried to step back, but my feet seemed fixed in the ground. My hands began to tremble. The torch fell from my hand, its light falling on the mud. I squeezed my eyes shut tightly, and when I opened them again, the woman was standing right next to me. No sound, no footsteps, just silence and a deep cold wave that emanated from her presence and seeped into my body. My tongue was not working. I could not say anything. A strange rustling echoed in my ears, as if someone was speaking in a very old language. It felt as if a whistle was ringing in my mind and I could not move. All strength had left my body. The woman in front of me neither spoke nor blinked. She just stood there, as if waiting for me for centuries. I tried to pick up the torch, but my hands had gone numb. Then suddenly she left, but not walking as we know it. Her feet were not touching the ground. She seemed to glide across the earth, completely silent. There was only a 2-step distance between us when suddenly a sobbing cry began to echo in my ears, a voice full of tears. But the woman was silent. The sounds came from the right, then from the left, then from behind me. I turned to look. There was nothing. Then my eyes fell on the woman again. She was no longer visible. The ground beneath my feet began to shake. It seemed like pure illusion, but it felt as if someone was circling around me, a cold, trembling wind that now began to seep inside my clothes. Then, as if someone came right up to my ear and softly said, "Go back. You do not belong here." My hair stood on end. I tried to run, but it was as if someone had placed a hand on my shoulder and was pulling me back. Breathing became difficult. The bushes, trees, sounds, everything around me began to spin. And then suddenly, a goat sound. I immediately shone the torch in that direction, but what was in front of me was not a goat. A hunched presence in the shape of a human was making a goat's sound from its mouth. It raised its neck, looked into my eyes, and made that same goat sound again. A scream escaped me. I began to step back. The torch fell from my hand again, hit the ground, and went out. Now I was in complete darkness. Everything around me had gone silent, only my heartbeat and the distant sound of an owl. Then someone slapped me hard on the back. I turned around, the same woman. Now her face was visible, but the face was not human. Deep red eyes, a face black as if burned, and a thin line of blood dripping from her lips. "Your goats are safe," she said, "but you," and then she screamed and disappeared. My breath began to stop. I fell to the ground and lost consciousness. The cold morning air hit my face and slowly consciousness returned to me. My lips were dry, cracked. My clothes were covered in mud and my body felt as if I had not slept for days. I opened my eyes with difficulty. Above me, I saw the worried faces of 4 men from the village, Uncle Imamuddin, Nadim, Lala Rashid, and my maternal Uncle Rafik. Uncle Imamuddin bent down, placed his hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, you went to the jungle alone at night. We searched for you the whole night. Then we found you unconscious here." I was stunned. I could not speak. Finally, I managed to ask, "The goats?" Nadim said, "The goats are at your home. They came back on their own shortly after you left. Jamila told us." I fell silent. My mind was still spinning with the images of the night, the woman in black, her long hair, her face that was not a face, the creature that made a goat sound, the slap on my back, and that final scream. The men helped me to my feet. My legs were weak, but I managed to walk. They escorted me back to the village. As we entered the lane, I saw my wife standing at the door, wiping her hands on her dupatta. She rushed toward me. "Have you lost your mind?" she said, her voice a mix of anger and relief. "Going alone to the jungle at night. The goats came back on their own. They must have been stuck in the bushes and found their way home. I said nothing. I went inside my room, lay down on the cot, and stared at the ceiling for a long time. I did not tell Jamila what I had seen. How could I? She would think I had gone mad. Perhaps I had. The next day I was sitting at the village shop. Lala Rashid came and sat beside me. He said, "Last year something similar happened to another goat herd. He also went to that same corner of the jungle. He was sick for many days afterward. But everything is just coincidence, son. You were probably just scared. Darkness, loneliness, it plays tricks on the mind." I nodded, but the questions remained in my heart. That night I thought a lot. Perhaps I was the one at fault. I had left the goats and come back alone. I had gone to the jungle tired, afraid in the dark. Maybe it was all exhaustion, fear, and darkness playing together to confuse me. Maybe the woman was nothing, just my imagination. Or maybe a truly terrifying incident had happened to me. Even today, when I go out alone at night, I feel as if that woman is following me. I never told anyone the full truth, not even Jamila. Some things are better left unspoken. But I know what I saw. I know the cold that seeped into my bones. I know the voice that whispered in my ear. And I know that face, those deep red eyes, that blackened skin, the blood dripping from the lips. I stopped grazing my goats near that valley. I found another spot, closer to the village, where other goat herds also took their animals. I never went to that part of the jungle again, not even during the day. My goats Gull and Lolly returned safely. They never showed any sign of having been harmed. But sometimes, late at night, I would hear one of them make a strange sound, a sound that reminded me of that creature, the one with a human shape and a goat's voice. I would sit up in bed, my heart pounding, and listen. The sound would not come again. Years have passed. My children have grown. My wife still asks me sometimes why I never go to the old valley anymore. I just say that the grass is not good there. But the memory does not fade. And sometimes, when the wind blows from the direction of the jungle, I feel a cold presence in the corner of the room. I do not look. I simply recite my prayers and wait for morning. I am telling this story now so that others might be warned. If you are a goat herd, a farmer, or anyone who works alone in the fields and jungles, do not go out at night looking for lost animals. Do not follow strange lights. Do not call out in the darkness. And if you see a woman in black under an old tree, do not go closer. Turn around and run. Because some faces are not human. Some voices are not meant to be answered. And once you have seen her, she will remember you. May Allah protect every goat herd, every farmer, every person who works alone in the wilderness. May He keep us safe from the unseen that walks in the dark places. If you like this story, please like the video and leave a kind comment. Subscribe to the channel for more true stories of fear and faith. We will meet again, God willing, with another story.